don't accept the low rate jobs.
Oh,
Don't
wow,
accept the
yes.
unprofessional agents. Don't accept the unprofessional production houses.
And payment terms.
Whatever. And payment terms.
Let's not go there. Oh, let's
Yeah,
go
I
there.
don't know. That's a whole other, Tina, that's a whole other conversation, which will go on for hours.
Welcome to the Spotlight with Tina on Anqor podcast. I'm your host, Tina George, an international runway model and a film professional, here to bring you insightful conversations with masterminds in the film and fashion world. Are you ready? Lights, camera, and
Action.
welcome to my podcast, Emma Brain.
Thank you so much.
You are a phenomenal actress, voiceover artist, presenter, TV host, camel rider, I came to know recently.
Indeed, yes.
Welcome to our show and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Great. So, acting your age,
Mm-hmm.
you have done several short films. You're on Netflix at the moment with an Emirati short film, and you've got something coming out with Disney Hotstar, The Freelancer, I believe.
Yeah, The Freelancer is on Disney Hotstars right now.
Amazing.
I'm in 3 episodes and all my scenes are with Mohit Raina. So it was directed by Niraj Pandey. So big deal, absolutely thrilled to be in that. And I was in an Emirati movie that we shot a couple of years ago that's currently still on Netflix with Abdullah Zayed. So yeah, lots of experience in short films and commercials and things like that.
Yes, amazing. And what was the journey like to get into those roles?
Basically, I started at university. I did media studies, theatre studies, and I always wanted to be on camera and behind the camera and do everything. I actually fell into radio at university. That was my background, but I'd always done extra roles as well in the UK. I was like a recurring extra on a series for S4C, which is the Welsh version of Channel 4 in the UK. So it was Welsh language. I don't speak Welsh.
Oh, well, how did that happen?
Challenging, having to kind of lip sync Welsh hymns and all the rest of it. So that was fun. And kind of when I came to the UAE in 2003, I'd kind of focused on everything else and only got back into the acting in recent years. And one of the most fun projects to be part of. I shot 2 days in Abu Dhabi on 6 Underground, Michael Bay's Netflix
I was
movie
in
with
that
Ryan
too.
Reynolds. That was fun.
That was a lot of
I got
fun.
bored of being blown up though. Not gonna lie.
That's Michael Bay for you.
I know, Bayhem all over. But it
Oh, I
was a
like that.
fantastic experience. It was an amazing experience. So, and things kind of snowballed from there. And what I really appreciate and enjoy doing here is people and the talented people we have here creating their own projects and allowing you to be a part of those.
So, when talking about acting your age, now the reason people are reluctant to say their age is not because they're ashamed of their age. It's more that the stereotype mindset of the person asking it and then pigeonholing you. What's been your experience like about this?
100%. I mean, look, in other territories that have been that have a lot longer history in the industry, so like the UK, the US, and other territories, you would never ask a performer or an actor their actual age. You ask them their acting age range. So normally you should be able to play 5 to 10 years either side of your actual age. So long as you can look it and act it, it shouldn't matter what your actual age is. And I've kind of fallen down the rabbit hole now of the age because I don't look as old as I am. So if I apply for roles in my age range, people look at me and go, you don't look old enough to play that role. On the flip side, if I go for the younger, the talent pool is much bigger. So it becomes a real problem. And then you have that thing, obviously I'm going grey, you can see I'm going grey, and I asked so many of my casting director friends, should I embrace the grey or should I dye my hair? And every single one of them, without fail, said, keep dyeing your hair.
Wow.
Because it's only going to age you. And they're like, you're not there yet. They're not there yet. Keep going for the younger roles and dyeing your hair because you can pull it off. And as I said, so long as you can pull it off, it honestly shouldn't matter. It
You're
shouldn't
right.
matter at all.
It shouldn't, because the limitation is not in your experience. The limitations is in a mindset
Yeah,
of can they see you in that role
yeah,
or not? But you come with so much experience, you could probably nail that scene out
yeah.
quicker than someone who hasn't got as much experience as you.
And I will say there's a disparity. It's much easier for men with regards to this issue
Yes.
than it is for women. Men have the thing where they age like fine wine. Women, we have to stay looking the same way for so many years. And especially here, and I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but when it comes to the commercial side of it, Dubai and the UAE sells a certain image.
Mm.
So that's what they look for. It's more about the look, not necessarily the performance, if you see what I mean.
Yes, no, absolutely. And there's, like Bridgerton, for example, is one of the shows that has been a trailblazer in this department. It's challenging so many societal norms. It's, overcoming even race in that. But tell me what you feel. Do you feel that the splash they have made, are we feeling the ripples enough, or do they have to say it louder for the people in the back?
I think it depends on the show, on what they're trying to do. Bridgerton very much so has broken a lot of molds. They've busted a lot of stereotypes in so many ways, and
And
we
women are
had
powerful in
exactly,
that,
and
very
we
influential.
and I loved the I always forget her name. I'm really sorry. The young lady that plays Penelope,
Penelope, yes.
Penelope in the role, and she's a voluptuous young lady,
Yes.
and she specifically went to the directors and went, I want to be as naked in this episode as I possibly can, basically to show it's fine to be a curvy woman. We don't all
Wow.
have to be stick thin or whatever. And
Exactly.
the reaction to that, people are like, she's so beautiful and she's so fantastic at what she does. And it's about the performance, not what she looks like. And she just embraces everything to do with that role.
Absolutely. And I think they've been very smart with that, because if you only stick to very stereotypical, I guess, faces or body images, you kind of leave a lot of other people out. You alienate so much of your
Yeah,
audience. And they've been very smart with now, she becomes a poster girl almost for confidence boosting, for
100%.
body awareness, or not body shaming, or for older women as well.
100%. And it's about representation. And I've said this, and it's a topic of discussion I have with so many people. When it comes to advertisements and everything, I don't see women my age. I don't see many of us. And let's not forget, I actually did research into this. There's a $15 billion industry of
Wow.
women of a certain age have a huge disposable income. Nobody targets us.
Oh, wow.
Hello,
That's a
there's
lot
money
of
to be
money.
made, and
Absolutely.
nobody, and they're just being ignored.
There is a lot of money on the table, because I guess even when you come to that stage, you've passed the awkward stage of not knowing where you are, and now at that age, you're more assertive. You
Yeah,
know what you want. You've got the income
yeah,
and the independence, and you've got things to splurge and things to say. But that's when they pigeonhole you into this very almost timid characters
yeah.
that don't have much of a say, or sidelined,
Yeah,
and the
it's the
younger
mother.
ones.
It's the mother. I mean, look, if I look at the characters I get typecast at, it's the mothers, it's
Mm,
the doctors, it's the psychologists. It's all very specific, stereotypical roles. Particularly when I'm wearing my glasses and my hair's all tied up, in a tight bun. I have that look. So again, we're going on look, not necessarily the ability to play a different kind of role.
absolutely. I think it was who was it? I just got my notes over here. I think it was Meryl Streep who said that after she turned 40, she was either being offered roles of witches.
Three. She had three in one year.
Yeah?
Absolutely. She was like, hang on a second. I've turned 40 and suddenly I'm getting all these witch roles.
Yes,
What is up with that? And she's like, I'm not
exactly.
ready for those yet. Absolutely not. But Meryl Streep is a fantastic example because, she was originally put forward to play the title role in King Kong in the original
Wow.
one, and she went to meet the directors and everything, and they didn't know that she could understand Italian. And it was basically said, "Will you bring me this ugly thing? Well, this ugly thing?" And she's like,
Wow.
"I'll show you." Meryl Streep is doing more roles, more fantastic roles than she ever has done,
A
and she's
classic
incredible.
example of a limitation of the person
Yeah.
in front rather than your own performance.
I mean, look, we have Meryl Streep, we have Dame Helen Mirren, we have Judi Dench,
Yes.
Julia Roberts isn't doing the crazy face thing; she's aging gracefully.
Viola
So
Davis,
Viola Davis, incredible.
powerhouse.
Oh my gosh,
I love
she's
her.
just phenomenal. We have all these incredible actresses who are now breaking the mold, and they're taking on these older roles with vigor and grace and total powerhouse performances. And we are starting to see roles being written for women in this arena a lot more. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think it was even Maggie Gyllenhaal. I think when she turned, I think when she was in her 30s, she was told she was too old
Yeah.
to play the love interest of a 55-year-old. Can you
It's
believe that?
it's
At
insane.
37. This is where we are. But on the flip side, there are some positives. Like
Yeah.
Rihanna, for example, I just hired a 67-year-old model
Yeah.
to be in her Fenty campaign.
Yeah.
You know, that's have you seen
Yeah.
Joanne Johnson? That's her name. She's
Amazing.
phenomenal. Her confidence is another level altogether.
I mean,
Where
look,
she is.
there are things that happened last year in when I was 47. I got my first brand campaign with Boots Number 7, the
Correct.
Face
You are
Off.
the face
I
of
did
that.
2 campaigns for them actually. I got my first international acting role, which was the freelancer. There were a lot of firsts last year. So age, can say is just a number, but you got to keep knocking on those doors.
It is.
And they will open. And I was reading threads this morning, and there was a wonderful lady on there. She's like, at 52, I've just been taken on by a modeling agency.
There you go.
So it happens. You just have to keep trying and ignore the people that say, you can't do this. There isn't this for you. No, we don't want you.
Because that market is still there. They haven't disappeared just because
No,
they're older. They're very
no.
much here,
One,
and you can't ignore them at all.
yeah,
You know, I mean, there's two arguments to be made. One is, as an actor, you can play the buffer role, 5, 10 years on either side. And the second is, if you are older, there are roles that are more significant than just being the grandmother
yeah,
or the mother. Like you can take center stage, like we've seen recently with all these,
absolutely.
amazing actresses.
I mean, it makes me laugh when we see castings here and they go, we're looking for old people, 50 plus. I'm like, 50's not old.
I know.
Stop it.
Funny you say that, 'cause after we had a conversation, I went back to look at the casting groups that we're part of, and just to see, like I typed in the word grandmother, for example, and I wanted to see what were the age ranges they were asking for. And there were so many 45-year-old grandmothers.
I'm like,
And I'm like,
it's
who has written this casting?
and then you have they want the father to be 50 with a 25-year-old wife
Oh,
and 2 teenage kids. Make it make sense. It's that your
yes.
math is not mathing.
Exactly. But I think it's also about like we need people in that age range writing these casting calls
Yeah.
or in those room making decisions to what's realistic. These days, a 45-year-old, like for example, I know a 55-year-old grandmother. Okay. She has a better social life than I do. She doesn't look a day over 35.
Yeah.
But if she was to put that on her resume at 55, she would never get considered for the younger roles. They wouldn't even audition her.
Exactly. That's the problem.
And this is where we're falling apart. Like we're not using the talent that we have. We're looking at a number on a page
Yeah.
and not looking at all the other information below, which shows an amazing body of work, the way you have an amazing body of work.
Yeah.
And that's also happening with influencers these days. I see a lot of people, I guess, going more towards hiring an influencer to do a particular role than an actor.
That is becoming a problem. We see more and more castings or jobs being offered saying we want influencers because they have, or if they have X amount of followers. And here's the problem, and we've seen it working in this realm. I have friends that are directors, and they're like, the shoot takes 5 times as long because they're not professionals in performing.
Mm.
They don't know how to do the emotions, they don't know how to act, they don't know how to perform on camera. They're great at doing the talking head stuff and presenting to camera, but when it comes to acting, it's a whole different thing. I'll give you a great example. A friend of mine is a writer, producer, director in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I met him in New York a few years ago, and he brought with him an actress friend. She was personally picked by Quentin Tarantino for a part in Django Unchained,
Wow.
and she just shot a independent film, a small independent film, and she was very unhappy because the person they cast opposite her, they only cast because of the amount of followers they had on social media. And when she saw the edit, she refused to sign the release form. She was like, no, this
Oh,
performance is so bad. She's like, I'm not putting my name on this piece of work. I
wow.
cannot because it's so bad. And it doesn't do me as a performer any favors. It doesn't do the production any favors. And let's face it, most of the influencers have bought their followers anyway. So it doesn't help. So in actual fact, the engagement and everything is fake. You should hire someone based on their talent, their abilities, their experience, skill set, and body of work, not what you see on social media.
And this is true. This brings up another point as well. They're good at what they do. They're not sitting around making social content just to create following.
No.
Like we're auditioning or we're creating, so we don't have the time necessarily to be social media stars.
Yeah.
But there's no indication of the capability of the work that you can do.
No.
And that's where there's this disconnect in the mind. If you're so good at what you do, I think the mindset is, if you're so good at what you do, the logic is, then you should have a great social media following.
Yeah.
That doesn't apply
It-
always.
It doesn't. I mean, look, I've been in this industry so long, social media didn't exist when I started doing it. So you were hired based on the CV that you sent out,
Correct.
the pictures that you could send. I mean, what did we do? We didn't have email or anything. We didn't even have email. So you had an agent who did your headshots, did your Polaroids,
Yes.
had your reels, and it was your agent's job to go out and get you those jobs. And this is something also we don't have here. We don't have the agents that work this way, where you are like signed to an agent or a couple of agents, and it's their job to go and put you forward for the job.
Is the industry big enough to support them, the agents? Do we have that infrastructure at the moment in the UAE?
I mean, look, I've been here 21 years. There's a lot of things that have got better. There's a lot of things that haven't changed that need to change. Like, we know we're not allowed to have unions here. Fine. But we desperately need a governing body instead that regulates agents and agencies, because there's a lot of cowboys out there.
Yes, there
There's a
are.
lot of cowboys out there. If influencers have to be licensed and registered, why don't agents?
Fair enough.
Make it make sense, right?
Yes.
Things like this, people don't understand they should be working on behalf of and for the talent, not the other way around.
True.
It's a learning curve. It's still a learning curve. I mean, people like me and there's other people in these groups, and we've been saying the same thing for years and years and years. How do we get it to change? I don't know. We just have to say we all have to get on the same page and work together as a performing community to make the changes. And it's things like, don't accept the low rate jobs,
Oh,
don't
wow.
accept the
Yes.
unprofessional agents, don't accept the unprofessional production
And
houses,
payment
whatever,
terms.
and payment terms.
Let's not go there. Oh, let's
Yeah,
go
I
there.
don't know. That's a whole other, Tina, that's a whole other conversation,
It
which will go
is.
on for hours.
I know. We don't have that much time over
No,
here. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I think none of these issues we brought up today are standalone.
no.
They all lead one into the other. And if we are to take a stand on what's acceptable, what
Yeah.
kind of talent you're looking for, I always tell people when they come to me, like they want to hire someone, it's like, please let the client know what they're asking for.
Yeah.
And don't work on the talent's behalf. Don't just work on the client's behalf.
Yeah.
Because if client is expecting for someone to be paid 500 for a 12-hour day and you're okay with that because you want to get the work, you're really severely reducing the level of standard in this country.
Yeah.
And you don't see that on a 1 or 2 job basis, but they go into the hundreds.
Yeah.
Then it's unsustainable to be an actor or a model in this industry at those rates.
You can't. And one thing, and I always say this to agents when I see low things. They're like, oh, but the client says, the client says, the client says. I said, yes, but as an agent, it is literally your job to educate your clients. If you want professionals, it's going to cost you.
Correct.
It's going to cost you a professional rate to hire a professional. And we see it so many times. You go in, and because the rates are so low, you get unprofessional people who don't know what they're doing. It actually costs the client and everyone else more because the end product is not good and they have to go back and redo it all. It actually costs them extra because they didn't fork out for the proper talent and the proper crews and everything in the first place.
It's no different to any other product that you'll buy cheap and later on realize that the
Yeah.
reason something, not necessarily that something's always good if it's expensive, but the fact that there's quality behind that.
Yeah.
And that comes down to, like you were saying, before Instagram, you had your CV and you had your headshots and you were judged purely on your merit.
Yes.
I miss those days.
Yes.
I really do, because now you are fighting with Well, the influencer, I think, opened up a whole floodload of categories of people to choose from
Yeah.
that maybe even the casting directors have a hard time selecting,
Yeah.
picking the weave from the
And I've seen it, and
corn.
I said to other people, if you're going to use your social media as like your online CV, right, your online show reel, it's got to portray the real you. Stop editing your photos and everything. There was an incident, and it made me chuckle, and it was absolutely the casting agent's mistake. They cast purely from Instagram
Oh,
profiles,
wow.
and it was for a music video. And of course, the shoot day came, and they were like, where's this person? Person in the back puts their hand up, and they're literally like, yeah, that's not you. Because it was so heavily edited, and they ended up taking this person out of the lead role they'd cast them for and
Oh,
went, no,
my
we can't
goodness.
use you. And they had to cast someone else. So it wasted everybody's time because the
Absolutely.
person didn't look in
Did
reality
the photo
like they
look
did
heavily edited?
severely edited.
And how did
But
they still
honestly, they
select
didn't.
that?
But obviously, they weren't aware enough to see through the editing.
Wow. That's
But then the problem is on social media, everything is copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. So many people look very similar because they use the
yes,
same filters and same editing techniques.
exactly. And brings back to what we were saying before about women and being unable to age gracefully.
Yeah,
Because there is a certain way we need to look in order to be, especially in this industry.
yeah,
Maybe not so prevalent in other industries, but in this industry, you have to look a certain way.
yeah,
And if you don't look that certain way, like your casting agents telling you need to keep coloring your hair, for
yeah.
example, you know,
But human beings are unique. Why not have people that are unique rather than people that just all look the same? Do you know what I mean? It's
of
like
course,
bank on people's uniqueness, not on their similarities. Because if you have someone that looks unique and different to everyone else, how much is that going to make your product or your brand stand out because it's more eye catching
like
than if
Rihanna.
you use everyone that looks the same?
Exactly. That's what Rihanna's brilliant
Yeah,
marketing with the 67-year-old model
which is fantastic.
Joanne Johnson. She opened up a whole new demographic for her. It's a very smart business move,
Yeah,
and I think even if the people here embrace that, there is a lot of very successful women
yeah.
who you would appeal to,
Look
for
like
example.
people like Caroline Lebachère,
Yes, amazing.
Lalille, fantastic, very unique looking
Yes,
ladies embracing the grey haired look, and they get lots and lots of work because of their uniqueness, because they stand out and they look different, and they're embracing the age that they are, which
exactly.
is fantastic.
It is amazing, and I think that the fact that we even have to have this conversation about women, not so much as men, just signifies that we are talking about aging, but we are still in the dark ages about that.
Very
Do you
much
know? It
so.
kind of feels that way.
Unfortunately, I
So
feel like due to certain opinions on social media, we've actually gone backwards.
we have
We've gone backwards with it
exactly.
recently.
Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I know normally you're the one asking all the quiz questions,
I know, yes.
but today the tables are going to be turned.
Oh gosh, this is where my memory is going to fail me.
No, you're going to be fine. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you a scenario, and I want you to just tell me how old this person was in that case.
Okay.
Okay. So, how old was Winona Ryder when she played 18-year-old Susanna Kaysen in Girl Interrupted? How old do you think, if you remember the movie?
Oh my gosh, she looks so young as well. But you see, Winona's really hard because she looks ridiculously
She
young.
does.
She was eight. She was how old was she in that
She
film?
was 18. She
She
played an
played the
18-year-old.
18-year-old.
Yes.
I ain't gonna. I want. Why do I want to say something about 25?
Yeah, close.
I,
28.
oh well, there you go.
There
There
you
you
go,
go. She
28.
looks young. She looks young.
Okay, I've got a few more. We've got plenty actually for you. I mean, I'm not sure what you're going to win.
Okay, nothing. It's fine.
Well,
Just
so far
a
you
little
haven't won,
crown.
so let's just see how it goes. We'll figure it out later. So, how old was Rachel McAdams when she portrayed Regina George in Mean Girls?
Oh
She
my
played a
god.
teenager there
Yeah.
in school.
Come back on. It's just come back on Netflix. Mean Girls. It's the classic. Um. Gosh. Again, she looks incredibly young for her age. I want to say she was probably late 20s again.
You're right, 26.
Yeah. I was going to
26.
say 26, 27. Yeah.
Do you remember Little Women?
Yes.
So, we got Florence Pugh there. She played a 13-year-old Amy in that movie. Do you know
She
how old?
doesn't age at all.
How old? Do you know how old she
No,
actually
it does
was?
not age. She played a 13-year-old.
13-year-old.
I want to say probably 18 or 19.
She was 22.
Well, yeah.
22 playing a 13-year-old. Can you imagine?
But look at shows like Beverly Hills 90210.
Yes.
They were all playing teenagers. They were all in their 20s.
Correct.
I think Luke Perry was actually in his 30s
Yes, he was.
in that
He was
show.
the oldest one.
Playing a teenager.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of good-looking men, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Doesn't age. Baby
Doesn't age.
face.
Well,
He
he's
is
kind of
now.
yeah, a
He
little
is
bit now.
now.
So he played, I think, in the start of Catch Me If You Can, he played a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
Do you know how old he was when he played that?
Oh, Catch Me If You Can. I got to think, how old is that film? It's actually quite old now.
He was
I wanna
15 in the film.
I want to say he was probably early 30s.
He was 31.
31,
Right.
yeah.
Oh my God, I may have to give you something for this. Okay, Emma Thompson. She played 19-year-old Eleanor Dashwood in Sense and Sensibility. How old was she when she did that?
That film's quite old now. Oh, she played 19. Oh, gosh. She must have, when that came out, how old is she now? I think, how old is she now? She's late 50s now-ish. I reckon she must have been in her 30s when she played that.
33.
33, yeah.
Sorry, 35.
35. There you go.
35. There you go. I don't know if you remember Grease.
Of course.
Yeah.
Big fan.
You remember Rizzo?
Rizzo.
17-year-old Rizzo.
It's a Stockard Channing.
That's right, Stockard Channing. How old was Stockard Channing when she played 17-year-old?
Oh, I want to say 30.
33.
There you go.
33. This is a really, really good one. I think you might know this one actually. Mourning Myrtle in Harry Potter.
She was also in all the Bridget Jones movies.
Was she
As
really?
one of the best friends.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
'Cause she played what a 13-year-old in this film at the ghost in the ladies' room toilet.
She was definitely in her 30s. Definitely in her 30s.
37.
Yeah.
37, playing a 13 or
See,
14-year-old.
age is nothing.
Age
It
is
doesn't mean
nothing.
anything.
I've left the best one for last.
Go on.
Okay. Barbara Streisand. She played a 16-year-old in the film Yentl or Yentl. It's called Yentl. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, God, how old is that film? She played a 16-year-old?
How old was she when she played that?
I have to think how old that film is. I want to say something like 28. Oh, you're going to say 40s, aren't you? You're going to say 40-something.
You're right, 41. She was 41 when she played a 16-year-old in that film. Now, I mean, this was a really interesting exercise for me as well because of our topic, but can you imagine what we would have missed out on if all of these casting directors took these women just for their ages?
At their age, yeah.
Like, these are some amazing films.
Yeah.
And I hope that serves as some kind of an eye-opener for our industry that, you know, don't look at the age.
No.
I mean, for example, in Hollywood, you have no choice. Everyone knows your age in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we're not there yet.
But you have special effects and CGI and the ability to do that. There was one, I was involved in a competition piece. It was a short, like, commercial. We did it for a few years ago. And they aged me to play a grandmother. 5 layers of liquid latex on my face, completely grayed my hair out. It was
Wow.
all down my décolletage and over my arms. And challenging. 2 hours in the chair to do it, 10 hours on set in a villa with no AC. My
Wow.
skin was screaming underneath. And then 2 hours to peel it off. I felt I'd lost half my face. But it was a fantastic exercise. And it's not just aging you with the makeup. It's you have to do all the body language and the voice, and it's everything else that comes with it. And this is what the difference between people that work on the craft and people that don't, and people that understand the craft and people that don't.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. And this has been something that's been there through the ages, and I really hope that there is some change in it. And I hope there's more shows like Bridgerton, for example.
Love it.
And more shows with female-centric. And I hope you get to be in one of those shows as well.
I got some friends writing some female-centric stuff right now, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
That sounds
it's
good.
amazing. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Emma, for being here with us today.
You're so welcome.
I hope
It's
you
been
had a good
pleasure.
time.
It's been fun. It's been great. I'd love the little pop quiz. I did good.
You did good. We'll find something for you.
Amazing.